Season 2 of Ginny and Georgia has recently been released, and it essentially picked up from what we saw at the end of Season 1. With it spanning the course of a few months, building up to Georgia's wedding with Paul, we saw the struggles that Ginny had been going through, all that Marcus had been going through, and also the personal battles and protecting that Georgia had done to protect both Ginny and Austin for the entirety of their childhood. So with that, I thought I'd recap, break down, and explain all that there was to take away from this season of the show. So let's get into it. Here is Ginny and Georgia Season 2 Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. As we approached the final episode of Season 2, we'd seen all of the main characters go through multiple turbulent journeys for sure, which I will break down by each individual character. However, the final part of the season saw that Gil, Austin's father, returned, blackmailed Georgia, and said that he was going to keep her secrets quiet on her criminal past and not reveal them to Paul if she provided him money once she was married to him. However, with her confessing all but the killings to Paul, we saw that Paul used his position as mayor and the powerful connections that he had to make it legally difficult for Gil to manipulate Georgia or contact her or Austin anymore. This then left one thing: the wedding. With Georgia cancelling the wedding, we saw Ginny find a workaround and the wedding go through smoothly and successfully. But the problem all came with Nick. We saw him reveal how Cynthia's husband died with Georgia by his side, and it then meant Gabriel had something to phone the police about, making him think it was suspicious. Gabriel was on the verge of leaving due to the lack of evidence that he had acquired as a PI, and Ginny and Georgia were so close to having their happy ending. But with the police storming in and arresting Georgia, it left Ginny on her own watching her mother being taken away, with Austin running after her, showing that the weight of secrets will continue to weigh heavily on the family and responsibility will be felt further down the line, continuing on with Austin. The weight of secrets, actions, and decisions made by others was a key focus of this season, with Ginny feeling responsible for the past actions of her mother, Marcus feeling the weight of Ginny's demons and then needing to face his own, and Georgia having her past catch up with her. With Georgia being taken off at the end, it looks as though Season 3 is most certainly going to be interesting, as we'll see if she manages to get away with it. With Paul's incredible set of lawyers, she may be able to. Let's break the rest of this video down by the main characters. Ginny. Ginny felt the weight of her mother's actions, and as we saw in the first 3 episodes of the show, they weren't speaking with each other. She feared her mother because of what she did to Kenny. However, after Georgia explained that she did it because she was protecting her family and giving them a better life, Ginny didn't blame her mother as much, but instead continued to turn on herself, as she felt some level of responsibility, something which was hard to watch. As the season went on, we saw Ginny's mental health improve after going to some real dark places. This was with the support of Marcus, her mother, her father, and also her therapist. Although something that coincided with her improvement was that Marcus started deteriorating due to the dark place that he was in. But by the end of the season, we saw that despite the fact that Ginny and Marcus weren't together anymore, they were going to be friends so they'd be able to support each other through the hard times that they both had coming. With her holding the secrets of her mother and the authorities likely clamping down on any knowledge that would be possible to grasp hold of, she may have difficult times ahead when it comes to questioning. Antonia Gentry delivered a phenomenal performance as Ginny in this season. The delicate nature that the scenes had where she was turning on herself were purely heartbreaking to watch. The panic attacks, breaking down, scenes in tears, and the fearful nature that she had at points were performed with such conviction. I felt so emotionally invested in what was going to happen to her, and a lot of that was down to the delivery. Georgia. We saw Georgia go through a rough time in this season, but I wouldn't say it was as hard of a time as what Ginny went through. Instead, we saw how she was a perfectionist at bottling everything up and being able to keep it locked away. This was due to the fact that she knew how dangerous the world could be and she wanted to protect her children from it. With many of Ginny's friends saying that they wished that their mothers were less like a traditional mum and more like a friend like how Georgia was, Georgia did do all that she could to protect her children from the threat that was always in front of them. It was just her unique way of parenting, but it did come at a cost. And that was by the children not feeling as though they had their own space or boundaries, but she did get better with that by the end of the season. Gil coming back into her life after getting out of prison following on from him being framed for embezzling money from the company that he worked at was one of the biggest challenges for her, due to the abusive nature that came with him coming back into her present day. So much so that it almost cost her her life and also her upcoming marriage to Paul. but it didn't end up coming to that. Instead, the killing of Cynthia's husband Tom was the thing that caused her luck to run out. Gabriel called the authorities on how Tom's death seemed suspicious, which led her to being arrested on her wedding day. Gabriel always said how if Georgia wasn't stopped, then she'd continue to act as if she was some kind of god in deciding who got to live or die, and that's exactly what happened when she killed Tom. With her being arrested for what happened to Tom, it does make me wonder if anything will be revealed about Kenny and also her first husband Anthony Green, who she did also kill, but is only known to the authorities as being a missing person. She planned on staying put in the town, so if she does get out, then maybe she'll stick around still. Marcus. Marcus was the main love interest in the show, and we saw that he spent most of the season with Ginny. However, towards the end of season 2, he broke up with her due to the difficult time that he was going through with his depression. Episode 8 was mainly focused on Marcus, and we saw the episode be narrated through his perspective instead of Ginny, who it was usually voiced by. The show did a really good job at framing the episode from the perspective of Marcus, and showing what it could be like with depression, with even the brightest of corridors feeling dark and cloudy. It was clear to see that we were witnessing the gradual demise of an individual who was suffering in silence, and it was sad to watch. However, by the end of the series, we saw that Ginny stated how she'd be there for him in any way that he needed, and in the final scene where they were in his room, we saw a smile on his face for the first time in a long while, so it showed that even though he thought that he didn't want her in his life, she does bring positivity into it. Max. Max was Ginny's best friend in the show, but she was a friend that was absent for the first few episodes when she truly needed her. This was due to Ginny being with her twin brother, but we did see them reconcile. Max had her own issue going on, and that was with her ex-girlfriend Sophie. She was struggling to get over her and was fixated on being with her, until the final quarter of the season, but a blossoming relationship was clear to see as the season was unfolding. And that was between herself and Silver. So by the end of the season, we saw her say how she was done with thinking about Sophie still, and she left her at the table, finally at the point where she was ready to move on. I thought this show was enjoyable to watch. It follows the structure of a show from a few years ago on Netflix with 10 episodes of over an hour, but it does work with this TV show. There's plot development, emotional investment, good character performances, and mystery, so you're constantly wanting to watch more. This show highlighted many different issues that people go through at multiple different stages of their life and the undetectable nature that they can have, such as depression, eating disorders, lack of understanding of heritage and identity, turning on yourself, grief, and loss. All of the issues were handled extremely delicately and allowed the viewers of the show to feel invested in all that was unfolding, but also get some kind of understanding as to why it was. With Georgia being arrested, it's not looking good for her, but I think we will see her find a way to get out from behind bars, unless this is how the show wants the ending to finish. We'll just have to wait and see. So, there you have it. Ginny and Georgia Season 2 Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this season? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.